Looks like we're up and running. So
There
we're gonna go into this deep dive that we talked about a little earlier. We're gonna look at the following things. We're gonna start with the business value for each social network, how it exactly can help your business, and then I'm gonna give you some tips on the right way to use the social network for your business, and then we'll talk about what content really works for each of those social networks, how to measure your progress using analytics, and then finally some next steps for using social networks to build your marketing. So after I've covered the top 5 social networks, we're going to look at how you create content that works, how to save time by curating content, which is sharing content created by others. Then we're going to give you some next steps and some tips on how to create photos, word images, and videos for social media. And then finally, just some next steps. So let's start with Facebook to get started. So we know that Facebook is the largest social media sharing site for people who use the internet and businesses who want to promote themselves online. So this is a Facebook page for Honeypot Hill Orchard, which is a farmstead in Massachusetts. So how can Facebook help your business? That's the $64,000 question. Because of that large audience. Facebook is the largest of the social networks. It's been around since 2004. There's over 1 billion users who are checking it multiple times during the day. Facebook, simply put, is the best chance of all the social networks to reach a large group of people. But how do we do that? It's important to start with the content you're sharing. If you post things people want to see from you, then they're going to be more interactive with your business and become loyal fans. So you do need to be aware, though, of how Facebook shows posts in the news feed. Facebook users don't see every single post from every friend and business they follow because it has an algorithm that shows people content based on their past interactions with friends and businesses. I'll break that down for you a little. Facebook's Insights tool is a great tool. It helps you find out what content is most appealing to your followers. And that'll help you stand out and give you an edge over the algorithm and even reach more people. So when we're talking about Facebook quality that actually works, what exactly does that mean? So there was a marketing analytics company that did a study that found the types of posts that gets the most interaction from fans on Facebook, and it's videos, photos, and status updates. Videos are extremely popular on Facebook. They grab people's attention and put them in the middle of all the action. So that's what this video from the Honeypot folks do. It's a virtual tour of their farm, their corn maze, and their store. So what you want to do is create and share videos that provide viewers with the experience of being wherever you are, show them how something works, and then give them a behind-the-scenes look. Sharing videos that are entertaining, that are about something funny or interesting generally is what we consider a best practice. Best practice for sharing photo content, similar to video content, and it's extremely easy to create because we're all walking around with a supercomputer and a camera in our pocket at the same time. Your photos need to reflect who you are and what you do. Show off what happens during your day, people interacting with your products and services, and even the people you meet. It's okay to take selfies in this particular instance. In this particular instance, this is a photo collage from the friends at Honeypot. It gives you a good idea of the experience and what you can find at the orchard on any given weekend. With the emphasis on visual content, though, you might not think that status updates would be among the top content, but they were actually third in the study that I mentioned earlier. So make your status updates work for you by being helpful, being conversational, and asking questions to get your audience talking. This is a status update from Honeypot, letting people know about the Columbus Day hours and available apple varieties and attractions at the farm. It's very simple, it's very informational, but you'd be surprised. Look at how many people, 44 people like that. So the algorithm, the big scary algorithm that we talked about earlier, this is it. The purpose of this is it determines what each user sees on Facebook when they view their news feed. This algorithm is commonly known as EdgeRank. And you might notice that your Facebook feed isn't chronological. The EdgeRank algorithm tries to figure out what users want to see by looking at what content and what pages they're engaging with. So here's what the algorithm looks at. It looks at your fans' interest, the fans who've interacted with your page or posts recently. They're going to have a better chance of seeing your content. Next, it looks at how well your post is done with other Facebook users. A popular post has a better chance of appearing in the newsfeed. Then third, the performance of your past posts. Once you start posting content that works, you're in a better position for future posts. Fourth, the type of post that your fans prefer. If your fans prefer video, then it'll tell you that. Somebody who's interacted with those videos in the past are going to be more likely to see your next video post. Timeliness, finally, is the most important. Recent posts will get more priority over older content. So the bottom line, though, is the more a user engages with content from your page, the more Facebook will display your page's content to that user. The best way to make EdgeRank work for you is to post great and compelling content that your audience comments on and shares with friends and family on Facebook. The key thing to keep in mind as I say that is great and compelling content that your audience finds interesting, not what you find interesting, what your audience finds interesting. And this is a favorite of Jenna's. There's absolutely nothing wrong with a bunch of cute cats. It really
no, there isn't.
It's really timeless, and it works for everything. So I mentioned the Facebook Insight tool a little earlier. Let's talk about that just a hair. The best way to find out what content works for you, keeping in mind that whatever works for you is by and large going to be unique to you. The best way to do that is to use Facebook's Insights tool. It's going to provide you with a ton of great reports and a ton of great data. So here are 4 reports that we commonly use to help our clients create the right Facebook content. So number 1, finding out which posts are doing well with the specific audience. Is it videos? Is it photos? Is it status updates or links? If we see that there are content types that aren't getting as many clicks or likes or comments, then we really don't waste time on them. Best thing that we can suggest is to focus on the types of content that are getting the best engagement. Next, we actually look at engagement metrics, which is the way we do that is click on the Reach tab and scroll down to the chart that shows your likes, comments, and shares. You can click on particular days on the chart or particular hours to take a look at what content was getting the best interactions that day and get a better idea of what content is going to get you the most engagement moving forward. You also need to take a look at who the people are who are interacting with your content. If you click on the People tab and then the People Engaged section, this tells you what age groups and genders are actively engaging with your content. It also shows you what country, what city, what state they're in, as well as their preferred language. So this is something you need to look at regularly. How does your Facebook interactions compare to the demographics of the people who like your page? Is this the audience you thought you were reaching, or is it the audience you even want to reach? You might want to make some changes to target the people you really want to communicate with on Facebook if you're finding that you're not getting the results you want. So everybody who uses Facebook for marketing wants to know what's the best day and time of the week to post to Facebook. Our answer is, I don't know, because the answer is going to be different for every page, because each and every one of you who can hear my voice right now has a different audience than everybody else who's listening. Fortunately for you, though, Facebook Insights show you the best day and time to post for your audience. The way you do that is you click on the Post tab and then When Your Fans Are Online section. And that shows over the past 7 days when your fans were using Facebook in each day of the week and each hour of the day. So it's incredibly easy to find the times and days that are most popular with your fans. And then once you are engaged with that information, you can schedule your content to post when a lot of your audience are going to be online to see it. So what do we do next? What's the best next steps and best practices with Facebook marketing? First, find out what content is going to be the most successful for your fans. Start with what you know already if you've been using Facebook for your business, and then try sharing the content that works. Videos, photos, status updates. Check your Facebook Insights to find out what's getting the most engagement from your fans. Pay attention to the content types, but also what topics, what information, or what products you're talking about in that content. Then keep sharing what's popular with your fans so they'll continue to see their content in your content in their newsfeed, and then be strategic about when you post. Use that Insights tool to find out when your fans are active on Facebook and most likely to see your posts. Then use Facebook's scheduling tool to target those optimal times and days. And then finally, take some time out on a regular basis to check your Facebook Insights. Your audience's preferences and behaviors are probably going to change over time, so make sure that you adapt with them in order to provide them with what will work best for your audience and for your business. So that's Facebook in a nutshell. That's pretty easy to handle, right? Right, Jenna?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love Facebook.
Absolutely. So let's move on to Twitter. Why do you use Twitter for business? It's the fastest way to reach your audience, simply put. Twitter is fast-moving social networking where posts are shown chronologically in real time, so you can check it to find the latest news and updates. There's no algorithm for Twitter, so everything that you see posted happens right now. This Twitter profile is for the nonprofit Strong Women, Strong Girls of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Boston. And I think we have some folks from Pittsburgh on our call today. So
we did. I think we had one.
Hey, Pittsburgh, how you doing? And so this nonprofit uses a lot of the best practices we're going to cover for Twitter. So good on you, Pittsburgh, today. So how can you stand out and promote yourself on Twitter? The way you do that is create and share tweets that work best for the Twitter environment and for your followers. We'll talk about using images and some of the things you can keep in mind with the text of your tweets. But you can really build a following on Twitter by being helpful on Twitter. People follow businesses to find out the latest news or get insider tips. Think of Twitter as an extension of customer service or the FAQs on your website. True story, once we have a minor league baseball team here in the Twin Cities that I spent some time about a week ago interacting with their competition who was in town to play a game from Fort Wayne, Indiana. And the Fort Wayne, Indiana Twitter feed was actually most active and told me if I should go to the game or whether or not it was a rain out. So yay, Fort Wayne. Anyway, analytics are important on Twitter. You can use the data you find in analytics to get to grow your audience and get content insights that are going to help you be strategic about how you get to use this social network. So everything being posted on Twitter and displayed on Twitter happens in real time. So if you're following a lot of people and a lot of businesses, that's a ton of information coming at you at once. Think of all your Twitter followers and all the people that you're following standing in a field and talking all at the same time. That's basically how this works. So the question becomes then, how can you make your businesses stand out here? So we got a report from a social media marketing analytics company called Buffer, which is a great tool. You should look into it. And it analyzed 1 million tweets. Here are some of the best practices that they found. Number one, using images with your tweets really helps. Initially, Twitter started out only with text posts, but in 2011, they allowed some multimedia. Twitter photos aren't used by everyone posting to Twitter, so including a photo or video will help get your tweets noticed more. Twitter displays uploaded photos in a large format, like you see on your screen there, so yours are going to stand out like this photo from Strong Women, Strong Girls in Pittsburgh. There's a 140 character limit on Twitter, but that doesn't mean you have to use all of the space. Shorter tweets do better on Twitter. Buffer learned that a post that's just text or text with a link like you see here with the Strong Women, Strong Girls tweet, the photo is pulled up automatically from the page you link to as a preview, and that generally is between 120 and 140 characters. So posts that have an image uploaded should be between 20 and 40 characters. Shorter posts get more engagement. One of the reasons for this is when somebody retweets your tweet using Twitter's mobile app or even a third-party tool, the retweet function automatically inserts your Twitter handle and the text from your original tweet. So if you're maxed out on 140 characters in the post, the person who's going to retweet you is going to have to figure out how to retweet it. So bottom line is short tweets save time. Third, use hashtags in your tweets. The study that we're talking about has showed that hashtags will get you more engagement, and they have a much longer life cycle. So if you're not familiar with what a hashtag is, it's a word or phrase with letters and possibly even numbers with the pound sign at the front, which is what the hashtag is. When you use a hashtag on social media, that phrase is turned into a link, and then anyone who clicks on the link will see everybody else in the universe talking about that same link and that same hashtag. So a hashtag can help you call attention to the topic you're talking about in your message, and more people will see your tweets if they're linked to conversations happening on Twitter around certain topics. So Strong Women, Strong Girls used their own hashtag, which was an event hashtag, which was hashtag like a girl, because they related to the content of the conversation. So I mentioned earlier that you can gain a really loyal following on Twitter if you're using it to be helpful. Twitter users follow people and businesses that provide them with interesting and useful information, and they know they can go back to that Twitter account to find the latest information on something or to even ask a question. So what does that mean for you? It means tweeting links to blog posts you've written or helpful posts on your website from experts or news sites that you read regularly are going to be helpful. If you're sharing interesting facts, stats, or even tips that will inform your audience or help them accomplish something. And then finally, it's very common for customers to use Twitter to ask questions of businesses or even experts. So make sure you're watching your notifications from your followers who need help and tag your business in their tweets. There are plenty of chances to participate in the conversations happening on Twitter and add value to discussions. Respond to followers who tag you or retweet you, and click on hashtags you're seeing you see people using to see what other people are saying about the topics and conversations that are relevant to your business. The more your name appears in discussions, the more people will think of you, and the more your business gets thought of when they need information on the topics that you talk about. So finally, make sure you strike a balance of content on Twitter. Every tweet shouldn't be blasting out information about your business and helpful information. Offer other sources that your followers are going to find helpful. Talk to people, answer questions. If you're not measuring, you're not marketing when it comes to Twitter. And more importantly, on Twitter, you're just plain guessing. Twitter has a great analytics tool to determine what tweets are the most popular with your followers. You can find it in your profile, or you can go to analytics.twitter.com. So here are the things that we like to pay attention to for our clients. First, your top mentions. When you go to your analytics dashboard, Twitter will show you the top tweet that mentioned your Twitter handle that got the most engagement over the last 28 days. Pay attention to those mentions. Follow the people who mention you. Follow the people who retweeted the tweet. They've indicated that they're interested in what you have to say, so now's the time to start building a relationship with those people through Twitter. So next, click on the Tweets tab in your analytics and sort your tweets by the top tweets to find out what content did the best. I feel like I'm saying tweets a lot during this portion of our show.
You kind of have to for Twitter.
Yeah, I think so. Keep an eye on what got the highest engagement and pay attention to what hashtags, topics, links, images that you used, and you want to continue to create similar content that your followers are interested in. Twitter Analytics also has a great breakdown of your engagements. It shows you the average rate of engagement, link clicks, retweets, likes, replies on any given day. So start with your average and then set a goal for yourself. Change your Twitter content and watch to see how your engagement improves over time. Finally, you'll also be able to find out who your followers are. So you click on the Audiences tab to get a closer look at the interests, the occupation, the location, and spending habits of your Twitter followers. You can adjust your Twitter content to appeal to your followers or change the content completely if you want to attract a completely different group. So what do we do next? We've covered a bunch of information on Twitter. I've said tweet 132 times during the course of this. So what can we do next to make our Twitter marketing a success? First, look for trends. Boy, I almost said tweet there again. Look for trends throughout your Twitter content. What's getting the most interactivity? Are people interested in the blog posts you're sharing, the hashtags you're using, or the type of tweet, like a tweet with a photo versus a text tweet? Experiment with the content that works for you. Not seeing images, short tweets, or hashtags, try them and see what happens. Next, continue to share the content of your audience that your audience wants to see in your tweets. Be consistent in what you're sharing. You want to earn their trust, and then they're going to come back to you when they need information or they are looking for something interesting. Third, use a scheduling tool to make life easy on yourself. The couple of ones that we recommend are Hootsuite or Buffer, which I talked about a little earlier, to schedule your tweets in advance so you don't have to be online all the time. Buffer even has an optimal timing tool that analyzes your tweets and tells you the best time to schedule your posts. Finally, check your analytics regularly to see if your trends change, and then adjust your tweets to fit your audience's preferences and demographics, which is a fancy way to make sure that what you're saying is interesting to the people that you're talking to. So we've gone through Facebook, we've gone through Twitter. Our third social network that we're going to go through today is LinkedIn. Let's take a closer look at what LinkedIn can do for you. So LinkedIn is a social network that you can really use to stand out with your expertise. It's a social networking site that focuses on businesses and careers. As a user, you can create a profile that includes your resume, your skills, and you can even post status updates. Businesses can create a business account that showcases their products, services, and news, and you can post content there as well. So today we're going to focus on the business page portion of LinkedIn, not the personal profile. So we're going to be using fogged in bookkeeping, which is again in Massachusetts. So when you post updates on LinkedIn for your business page, share what you know. Is there a new fact or stat that you learned about recently? Have you written a blog post that offers tips or advice, or have you read a really great post from an expert in your field? Share what you know so you can educate your followers, and they're going to appreciate the free advice. Next, be an information source. Share the things you know, share the things that you have expertise in, but also make sure that you provide a diverse selection of other sources. So if you read something else that's relevant to your industry, it's okay to share something in this particular instance on LinkedIn. Finally, you have to make sure that you monitor what's working for you on LinkedIn. So make sure you take advantage of the data that the analytics platform provides. So what's LinkedIn content that actually works? Well, first start with blog posts. This is your own posts and helpful information that you've read or that you have posted on your website. Users on LinkedIn regularly check to find out what's new in their industry or to discover what new products or services are available. Write about this information in your blog, link to it, and then take it from there. And then when you offer your own opinion on what's happening, or even link to another source that has positive information, it's okay to share that link and include an excerpt from the post that you write. Generally, you want to write a blog post that's between 500 to 1,200 words, and that'll get people's attention because they want as much information as possible on this platform to help them make good decisions and improve their business. Second, we talked about this before with other platforms, but use images to illustrate your posts. Posts with images receive a 98% higher commitment rate. An image can be a word, it can be a quote, it can be something funny, it can be a cute cat video, it can be a photo of you on the job, at an event, or with a new product, whatever. Humorous images even are fine as long as they're relevant. So this was the bookkeeper that we talked about earlier. They shared a funny tax refunds that their clients would appreciate. A post with a link on LinkedIn will get you 200% more engagement. So if there's something on your website, like a blog or a video that can be helpful to your followers, post a link to it. LinkedIn previews the web page you're linking to. It pulls an image from the text or the title and a little bit of information. It's basically a little preview that gets people to entice them to actually go further and click farther. So sharing content we just talked about will help you build your reputation as a credible expert on LinkedIn. People that you know are going to be a huge source of information on certain topics. So you can build on that by doing the following. First, share news about your business and your industry. It's okay to be more vocal about your business on LinkedIn because people are actually looking for that kind of information here. It's not like on Facebook, where on Facebook your new product announcement is going to get posted next to links to a funny cat video in the newsfeed. So on LinkedIn, people are here to do business. Second, have discussions. It's not enough just to link to information. You are an expert. You need to demonstrate your expertise. Offer your perspective. Show why the information you're linking to is helpful or interesting or game-changing for your industry. How do you do that? You ask for other people's opinions on it and get them talking. People never hesitate to add their 2 cents. Do they, Jenna?
No, they do not. Myself included.
See, she just added her 2 cents right now. So your LinkedIn business page is actually searchable. So make sure that you're strategic about the keywords that you use on your page. So what are the subjects? What are the topics? What are the ideal keywords that you want people looking for you to use? List them in your company description and the specialty section of your page, and then LinkedIn users get the opportunity to find you. You need to post consistently on LinkedIn to get noticed and grow your audience. And it's a pretty simple formula. The more you post, the more visible your company is. Posting 20 status updates each month will help you reach more than 60% of your audience. So the analytics tool, as every social platform has, it's going to help you find out what information is most appealing to your followers. So when you go to the analytics dashboard, you're going to see a most recent link to your recent updates. Focus on the clicks and interactions. These numbers are going to tell you how many followers are interested in your content and clicked on your links or photos. You can also dig a little bit more into the engagement metrics further down the page. This chart is actually going to help you separate the different types of engagement and see how they've changed over time. Next, you want to scroll down to see the demographics of your followers, gender, age, location. LinkedIn followers provide a lot of information on their profile page, so you're going to get a great picture and snapshot of who they are. The very bottom of the page, you're going to find demographics of people who viewed your LinkedIn business page, and then you can use the drop-down menu to find the details of these people's seniority and their company size and job function. It is very helpful information if you're in sales. So what do we do next? Hopefully I've given you a lot of information on LinkedIn. It shows that it's more than just posting resumes or trying to sell something. It's a professional space. It helps you promote your business in an appropriate way. So how do you get noticed here? First thing I want you to do is create a blog post and write about what you do, what you know, and what you think, so you can build your reputation as an expert. If you don't want to set up a blog on your own, try using the publisher tool. You can only use it for your personal profile and not for the business page, but then you can link back to it, and it's a good place for you to create blog posts. Ultimately, though, the best place to host a blog post is on your website, and I'd encourage you to start there, but the other thing is helpful on a secondary level. Second, be aware of the LinkedIn content that's getting the best results for you. Continue to share the best practice information that works for you with your followers that you're actively engaging with. Next, look for content that exists beyond just your website. You want to offer your audience a diverse collection of content so they get a well-rounded view of your industry. By offering that diverse collection of content, that shows that you're an expert and that you're tapped in to everything that's going on and you're on the cutting edge. Lastly, you want to make sure that you monitor your analytics to be aware of content trends, information about the people who make up your audience, and even demographics of visitors. Are those people who you expected to find, or are they completely different? That changes the entire dynamic of content once you know who exactly you're talking to. When you know exactly who you're talking to, you want to share the content that works best for them, not what you think is best for your audience. So we hit the big three: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Now let's get into Pinterest. This is a relatively new one over the last couple of years, and it's gaining some really interesting uses. Pinterest is different than other social networks for a couple of different reasons. Number one, it's primarily about sharing visuals. And number two, a lot of Pinterest is focused not about what happened, but what could happen in the future. It's the way this works is it's a social network that users pin images of things that they like to a virtual bulletin board. So it's a way for users to visually bookmark things that they either want to buy, have some hobbies or interests in, and even more information. Pins are typically linked to a website where you can buy the things, or you can learn more about a hobby, or even read a blog post. And that is where the business value lies with Pinterest. You can use it to drive people to your website. You can get their attention with your pins, and then you make it easy for them to take the next step. So how do we get started? First, we want to start by pulling people in with images you share. Make them really colorful, make them really visually appealing. Show details of your products, or even use word images to illustrate an idea or something that's not quite physically tangible, like a blog post or a fact or a stat or a tip or something like that. Next, create a loyal follower base if you promote products that people want, but also make an effort to share pins that provide value. Share content that helps them solve a problem. Life hacks are great. Learn something new or something that's just interesting or entertaining. Finally, of course, if you've stayed with me this long, you're going to know the next step, which is follow the analytics and figure out what's working well and use that data to determine what exactly you're going to pin. So it's Pinterest content that works. Well, when you log into Pinterest, it's kind of like an image traffic jam. It's a bunch of stuff happening all at once. So how do you make your pins stand out amongst the clutter? First, start with the quality of your images. If something isn't visually appealing, don't pin it. Share images with bright, vibrant, colorful things. If you can have the opportunity to use a professional photo, do so. You can take great photos with your smartphones. Just make sure that they're good quality, they're not tiny, they're not fuzzy, and they're not dark. Word images work really well on Pinterest. And the way you make a word image is you take an image and then write a description in the text next to it. So a lot of times you'll see a quote or a popular image overlaid on a bright color or even an interesting image. That's what's known as a word image. You can use a similar combination of that with the title of a blog post that you want to pin. You do have text descriptions for your pins. However, the visuals are going to get people's attention first. So you want them to notice the text in your image before seeing the pin description. The size of your image also helps you get your content noticed. Long images take up more room in the Pinterest feed than something small and square and fits. So the way you dominate Pinterest is use a large, long image for your pins if possible, because it entices people to go, what's beyond that set of shoes there?
We've got a question.
Excellent.
Becky. All right. So Rochelle, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, asks, should we keep our personal social media contacts separate from our professional? If so, how do we transfer professional fans from the personal site to the business sites for Facebook and the rest?
Well, first of all, Rochelle, thanks so much for the question. Absolutely, you need to keep your personal and professional status separate. The reason is everybody's got their own particular opinions. Everybody has their own particular thoughts, all of which are valid when you're thinking about business. Our ultimate goal as business people is to gain trust of everybody who's got green money who can give it to us. And so we don't want to offend anybody by sharing something that we believe that they might not want to believe. How do we transition? Well, the best way to do that is to promote your business page on a personal page. So you want to ask your personal followers, please follow me on my business page, or even my business Twitter account, or even my business Pinterest or LinkedIn account. Thanks for the question. Let's get back to Pinterest. We're talking about how to share beautiful product photos. The product pins should link back to the place in your website where you can purchase the product right away. You don't want to make it just a link to another picture. If you have a blog, create posts and pictures and then pin them on Pinterest. People look for things to buy, but they're also looking for how-to information and tips. And you want them to bookmark your content and repin it to their boards. Be strategic about the keywords you use on Pinterest. So think about search when you create board titles and descriptions. A board called like fall is not going to get found as often as top desserts to make for fall. So finally, it's easy to become pretty self-promotional on Pinterest if the only pins that you're bookmarking are your own. So you want to make sure that you're sharing other resources that might appeal to the lifestyle of your brand and complement your products. So that, again, people are looking at you as a one-stop shop. So the analytics tool that every social network uses, Pinterest has a great one that provides you a detailed overview of how the content's doing. So when you go to the analytics dashboard, you see three different sections. The first is your Pinterest profile, second is your audience, and then third is your information on pins from your website. So the Pinterest profile part shows you how much engagement your pins are getting. the repins, the clicks, the tabs. It shows you how many shares your content has received and how many people clicked on the links in your pins over time. You also want to pay attention to the popular content Pinterest displays in the repins and the clicks to show you what pins are getting the most engagement and what links are truly interesting to Pinterest users on the whole, not just your specific audience. The pins from your website section of Pinterest Analytics looks at pins that Pinterest user has created from images they've pinned to your website. I feel like I'm saying pin just as much as I said Twitter. Tweet, pin. So you want to take note and notice what people are pinning. This is really exclusive information because it shows you what users are interested in getting from you, either from buying from you or what information they want to read from your website. So the audience section of Pinterest Analytics really helps you target the content to match who's following you and pinning your pins. It gives you demographic information like location and gender. So question you want to ask yourself is, are you pinning content that appeals to your current audience? The way you do that is by clicking on the audience interests to see what topics they're pinning the most on Pinterest and what words and brands they follow. That sort of cycles back on the idea of being a thought expert, because then those people are going to be telling you relevant content, which then you can share and pin on your board as well. So now that you have some good tools and tips for marketing, how do we get started? What are our next steps? First, pin the right images to get noticed. Again, visually interesting, really bright colors, vibrant, longer pins that take up more real estate in the Pinterest feed. Second, people might pin content from your website. Check your analytics to be sure. If it's not, don't use Pinterest. If it is, then use it more. Pinterest pins have a very long search life, so make sure that you're using keywords to get them found in a Pinterest search. And then finally, make sure that you use analytics as part of your Pinterest routine. Make sure that you're seeing what content works, what content doesn't, what interests you can pin to connect with your audience. So we're coming around the bend. Our last one that we're going to talk about today is Instagram. Instagram is actually owned by Facebook, and it's different than other social networks we covered today because most of the time it doesn't take place on a desktop. Most of the time, Instagram happens on a smartphone. You can access it on a desktop, but you can't post from there. So most of the time, Instagram users share images and photos through the app. So this is a yoga company based in Maryland that we think does pretty good work. The benefit to using Instagram, it promotes your business in ways that followers allow your photos to get seen and they get to know you on a visual level. We are visual animals before anything else. When you share through your audience how you do things, they get to feel that they know you and they get to feel you're relatable and something they want to know more about. If you take anything away from what I'm telling you today, it's this: people buy from who they know and who they like. So Instagram is a great way to get people to like you and learn more about you. How exactly do you do that? Share eye-catching images. Don't share everything, just the really visually interesting stuff that tells a story. Kind of things that puts your audience in your store in the moment and makes them imagine what they can get by working directly with you. Unfortunately, Instagram at this time doesn't have an analytics platform yet, but I'll talk to you a little bit about one that we think works pretty well. So why should you be using Instagram? Well, number one, photos. I've talked about it time and again, really stand out. The entire platform is built on photos. So with Instagram, your photos can get to really capture attention and really get to know you better. Bright colors, interesting angles. What story does this tell? This particular yoga post tells an interesting story because I look at that and think, good God, that must be painful. But then I start thinking, how hard do I have to work to get there? And what benefits do I have if I do? Word images, incredibly important on Instagram, especially quotes. So I'll tell you a little bit about a tool that you can use. But if you're playing around with Instagram to start, do a hashtag quote search, and then you'll be able to find a lot of really interesting quotes that are meaningful to you. Videos are great on Instagram, but you're limited to only 15 seconds. So if you take a video of a quick tip or something funny, like your dog walking by as you're trying to do yoga, I have to admit this happens to me all the time when I try and do yoga. My dog decides he's going to lick my face. It's funny, it's interesting, it gets people to relate to you, and it also shows that you're human. And again, people are going to buy from who they like. You want them to like you. Putting your audience in the moment is really the key with Instagram and the content that you share. This helps build a community around a shared experience, which you're hoping that your prospects will do, but you also want your current customers to share with their friends so that they all have that common experience. So again, the Maryland Yoga Studio that we talked about, they share photos behind the scenes at events, during training and practices. It gets people to get an idea of what exactly happens at the studio. And you can do the same thing with your business. Also, you want to educate people. Show them how to do something so that they feel empowered. They don't feel like they're walking into your store completely blind. And hashtags are crucial with Instagram as well. Instagram posts with 11 or more hashtags get the most engagement, which you might think is a bit ridiculous, but it actually does work if you include that many hashtags. When you post to Instagram, you have the location of tagging your location in the photo. Make sure you tag your business or wherever the location of your content is, so people can find you from searching local. So there's not a really great or really robust Instagram analytics tool. There's a couple of third-party tools that you can really help. We recommend one called Square. You can check your engagement. You can see your likes. You can see which images are really working the best for you. Most importantly, you can figure out what is the best time to post based on what your audience is, and what hashtags are going to be the most relevant for your business. So what do we do next? Well, first we share images that tell the story of our business. Again, we want people to start imagining, what is it going to be like if I work with you, and how is that going to benefit my life? Use relevant hashtags to get found. Again, use a lot of them. Use an analytics tool to find the right day and time to post for your audience. When you're looking at your analytics, and this really holds true for everything, don't do it on a daily basis. It will drive you nuts if you look at analytics on a daily basis. You want to use it to look at trends, and you want to use it to spot things. And generally, we look at analytics about once a month, if not maybe every other week, but mostly once a month. Okay, so we've gone through the top 5. Let's talk a little bit about content and how do we go from here. So what's the best practice for content? Number 1, write for your audience, not just for you. Your audience might think that something is more interesting than you are, and vice versa. Here's a good best practice rule of thumb that we like. 50% of the time, ask questions, use images, grow your audience through asking for shares and likes. 30% of the time, be helpful. Give interesting information and relevant information to your audience. 20% of the time, promote your business. That's not asking somebody to buy something right now. It's talking about what you do, talking about the good things that people achieve through working with you. So the 50-30-20 rule, I'm going to come back to a couple of times, but this 50-30-20 rule is crucial. 50% of the time, ask questions, get people to engage with you. 30% of the time, be helpful. 20% of the time, promote your business. So what exactly is content curation as opposed to original content? Content curation is sharing content that you get from other sources. So when you do so, make sure that you quote where you get it from. The value in doing content curation is it shows that you're an expert and that you are reading everything that is relevant to your industry. Where do you find interesting content? Well, that's really one of the $64,000 questions today. I think I've asked 3 $64,000.
There's a lot when it comes to social media.
Especially when it gets into content. But easiest thing to do, check the news. Read other blogs of your competitors, people who are doing the same things that you're doing in other states. Follow other people, follow other industry leaders on social media. Another great tool is a Google Alert. That's something that Google will send you. Anytime a website posts with a particular keyword, Google will send you a link to that. Next, subscribe to email lists. Again, that's a great way as people are sending out interesting and relevant content in their newsletters, or even just learn from your customers, learn from your employees. What are they finding that is an interesting article? What's being passed around the office that's most helpful? Most important, more than anything, do not forget to give credit to the original author or source. If you don't, you will get stung. And we here at BusyWeb like to say we generate buzz without getting stung. It's very crucial that you give the original author or source. How do you get around that? You share the particular piece of information with your audience, and you say, I found this to be helpful. I thought you would too. I found it at X. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to follow, and it'll work perfectly. In doing so, though, I want to encourage you to repurpose and reuse the content. This is sort of the social media butterfly effect. You don't need to create brand new pieces of content everywhere. You can see this is a thrift shop in Massachusetts again, that they use the same collage in many different places to get many different engagements across different social networks. You get to do the same thing. Take a tip, a quote, an image, whatever, share it that your audience finds interesting, and share it across all of those social networks. Do keep a few things in mind, though. Make sure you change the content just a little bit. Don't copy and paste. And don't worry about being repetitive. People follow you because they like you and they find you interesting. They might miss your post on Facebook, but they'll catch it on Pinterest. They might miss it on Pinterest, but they'll catch it on Instagram. If somebody complains to you that you're sharing redundant content, chances are good that's not somebody you want to work with on a regular basis. So visual content, I've talked about a ton, and I'm running out of time, so I want to make sure that I get this in because it's absolutely crucial to your success moving forward. Visual content, how do you create it? Well, there's a couple imaging editing tools that we like that are really helpful. Instagram is something that we've talked about quite a bit. Another one is PicStitch. It's a free app. It allows you to create photo collages based on what's in your phone and then share it with any social network. And then one of my favorites is WordSwag. It's an app that you can add text over a photo and choose different colors and typefaces to really make it pop. First two are free. The last one, WordSwag, is $3 at the App Store. PowerPoint is, depending on the day, excruciatingly boring or really tried and true. You might not know that you can actually create and edit images from PowerPoint and then save them into a JPEG. Another couple of good ones are Canva. This is an online image editor. It has a ton of templates, kind of like Instagram or even templates for Pinterest pins or Facebook cover photos. And then one of our favorites here at BusyWeb, in addition, the folks at Constant Contact love Picmonkey. It's a free online tool, allows you to edit photos as you need, add overlays, add text to your images. Picmonkey is free. There's some functions that are kind of helpful, which cost you about $30 for the year. Stock photos are great as well. Here are a couple of free places that you can get some stock photos. Again, stock photos being what they are, they can be used by other people. Do not steal stock photos. You need to buy a stock photo if you're going to use it. Here are a couple of free ones, but if you're going to buy a stock image, it's anywhere from $1 to $10 or $15 for a photo, which, if you consider the cost of having professional photography done, is really not that bad. And it does help. Again, a consistent theme that I brought up in every single discussion that we had today is visual images get you more interaction. So don't skimp out on visual images if you're going to invest in this. Creating Word images is something that we've talked about regularly. It's a great way to share tips and combine words and images all together. It's also a great way to use for inspirational quotes and sales, promotions, anything like that. And it helps you share news, share announcements, share interesting things in a really bright and visual way, as opposed to just writing something down. So this is something you might want to take a screenshot of if you can. This is something that, again, I will be happy to email out if you want to send me an email after the fact and let me know that you want this. I'll be more than happy to share this particular slide with you. So I put together all of the social media images sizes in one place so you can find it just sort of at a glance. Really, this is what we recommend as best practices for using this. So I'm going to take a minute, have a drink of water, and if you want to copy down anything that you find particularly helpful here, please do so before I move on.
We have another question, Trudy, from Sue. Free photo sites. Did you say that if we use them, we need to buy them? No.
A free photo site is something that you can upload a photo to and then edit it. If you are going to get a stock photo, you need to have the rights to use the photo. Free stock photo images will allow you to use them if you credit the original author, or if you buy a stock photo, which is a completely separate option. That is something that you need to pay for. A lot of times what will happen is you'll see a stock photo and you think, oh, that's great, I'll use it. And then you right click and save as image. A, you can't do that because that's technically illegal. B, most of the time when you do that, just grabbing an image, the stock photo site will have what's known as a watermark put on the image, which is a funky version of their logo that's kind of all over the place. So you will not actually be able to use the image in a helpful way. So perfect. That's a great question. Thank you for sharing. So we're going to move on to video. And again, I'm probably going to go a couple minutes over time, but please bear with me. I'll try and get you out of here into your next Constant Contact presentation as quickly as I can. Video is fantastic. It's kind of an advanced topic, but keep in mind that you have a video camera in your pocket. Smartphones have built-in tools just like photos. There are a lot of different apps that you can add, create and edit videos and share them through social networking. Instagram is great. Also, broadcasting live from your smartphone wherever you are, particularly helpful for Facebook Live, which we didn't do today, but typically when we do our webinars, we also broadcast them on our Facebook page. Doing so, that helps get your audience behind the scenes, show that you're a real person, kind of shows that man behind the curtain effect, allows you to interact with your followers, talk about them, their comments and their shout outs, like our friends out there in Pittsburgh today, and then gets you the opportunity to interact with your audience. Gives them the opportunity to ask questions, much like you're asking Jenna and I today. There's a lot of attention about streaming video that's happened lately. Let's take a quick look at it before we sign off. Periscope is one of the newest ones. There's two other, Meerkat and Blab. Here's how they work. You install any of these apps on your phone and you create an account by linking it to your Twitter profile. Meerkat also does allow you to use your Facebook page, but by and large what you do is you broadcast or view a live stream on a mobile device or desktop of any of the apps. So you can save the video you create to your smartphone as well. So here's how you use each of the apps. Periscope, people can view one broadcast at a time. Blab, up to 4 people get to broadcast. Scheduling, you can't do in advance with Periscope, but you can with Meerkat and Blab. All of these allow you to promote your broadcast via Twitter, and then all of these have commenting abilities for each app. So this gives you, again, another place in which you can use it to interact with your followers. Bottom line is, though, after the fact, your broadcasts appear on your profile depending upon which app you use for any length of time. For Periscope, it stays on your profile for a day. Meerkat, once it's done, it's done. And Blab, it permanently appears in your profile. So live stream videos are a great way to repurpose content for social media by sharing a link to that Blab video or even sharing that you are doing something right now on Periscope. gets people excited. Something happening right now. I want to be a part of it. All right, we're wrapping up finally. Well, what are the next steps and how do we do this? Best practice that we follow here at BusyWeb is by creating an editorial calendar. Don't wake up every morning and ask yourself, what do I do today? How do I do it? Create an editorial calendar about what you're going to say every week and every day, and leave 1 or 2 spots open for something interesting that comes up or something funny that comes up. Don't forget about email marketing as well. This is a constant contact seminar. One of the reasons why constant contact is so popular is because the return on investment is ridiculous. For every dollar you spend on email marketing, by and large, you should see about $40 in return. Email marketing will help grow your social network. Your social network will then help grow your email list, all of which corkscrews into creating new clients and new opportunities for engagement with new prospects. Finally, save time with simple tools. There's a lot of really great automation tools that allow you to work in bunches. So Constant Contact has a social share tool that allows your people reading and sharing information with you to just click on a button and it'll automatically populate to Facebook. Also, you can schedule posts with Facebook. They have a really great scheduling tool. Hootsuite is sort of the industry standard for scheduling posts, which is really fantastic as well. Third, set up searches to monitor what other people are saying. Learn more about your potential audience by actually listening to them. How much time should you be spending doing this? Well, if you're doing this on your own, you should really be doing it about once a day for about 20 to 30 minutes a day. More than that, and people are going to start to wonder, why are you online posting so much? Less than that, people are going to wonder if you're truly listening. So that's everything I've got today. Jenna, do we have any more questions that came in?
We did. We had a follow-up one from Sue just clarifying.
Excellent.
Thank you. What's the point of free images if we can't use them unless we buy them?
So I think there are a couple of different classifications, Sue. A free image is something that somebody will let you use for no cost as long as you cite where you got it from. That will cost you no money other than citing the source. So that's one bucket of images that you can use. Second, if you want to use an image that you can only use by paying for, then I recommend you go ahead and do that because it's helpful and generally inexpensive. So there are opportunities to use free images. What I was talking about and advocating is not taking images that you do not have rights to use. Ultimately, if you use an image, you need to make sure that the image is useful to you and the image you have the rights to use. If you take an image yourself, you will have the opportunity, you have the right to use that.
If I could jump in here,
yes, please.
Just really quick, because I do the social media for BusyWeb, and this is an issue that comes up a lot because it's confusing. Really, the key is where are you getting the image from? If you go to one of the sites that we mentioned earlier that are free, you are able to use those without paying. If you were to go to a site like Shutterstock, for example, which hosts paid stock photos, it's very clear when you're on it that you have to pay to use the site. It's got the watermark like Trigby mentioned. What we just want to make clear is when you're on Google, do not search for an image and then just save it and use it. That's what's going to get you into trouble. So really, it's just about knowing where the image is coming from, and any place that offers images for free is going to be very explicit that you do have permission to use them.
So hopefully that helps. Thanks for the follow-up, Sue. Do we have any other questions, Jenna, before we let these folks go?
Let's see. Doesn't look like it. Nope.
Excellent. Well, thank you all for bearing with our technical difficulties at the start. If you want some more resources here at BusyWeb, we do webinars every Wednesday at noon. We will be back again in just a couple hours to give a webinar on, I think it's on content resources today.
It is indeed. So
Excellent.
We'll also be talking about photos in there too.
Perfect. So if you want to sign up, go to busyweb.com/events. interested in Constant Contact, they have a great resource library. And if you want to try it out, the best way to do that is go to constantcontact.com, sign up for a 60-day free trial. Quick plug for us before we go again. We are BusyWeb. We're based here in the Twin Cities in Minnesota. We're a full-service digital marketing agency. So if you want to talk about anything that we talked about today, if you want to talk about whether or not your website is doing what you need it to do, we are more than happy to start that conversation with you. Easiest way to join our email list is text BUSY, B-I-Z-Z-Y, to 22828. And that'll immediately have you join our email list, and you can start getting emails about our events and our best practices that we share with our customers, clients, and friends. Thank you for joining me. My name is Trigby. I'm the Director of Buzz Development. With me, as always, is Jenna.
Hi, or hi, bye.
And before we left, do you want to give your signature line?
Oh, bye.
Bye, everyone. Have a great Wednesday.